Hello denizens of the internet, it is Spencer Klein back. Happy New Year's everyone. And I'm here because over the holiday season I actually got a really nice Google Home from the extended family. It was very thoughtful of them. I've always kind of wanted one to give my little hangout area the smart home vibe. Too bad most of my friends are paranoid about the government spying on them. And I actually had to deal with this over New Year's when they literally unplugged my Google Home and set it outside because it was freaking them out. But I digress. That's a little bit more of a distraction from the tale. What we're talking about today is making your Google Home smart assistant communicate with your computer to, say, for example, open Netflix. I currently have it disabled for the sake of helping you set this up perfectly the first time. So what we're going to want to do is, whatever browser is your favorite, go to push2run.com. That's up here, push2, the number, run.com. Once you get in, you're going to load into this page. You'll see the example right here. You're going to see Push2Run the movie. It's general advice for creating new rules. So if you ever want to get into the idea of using targets or, specific programs, which you're going to have to learn to set up, and I'll show you that. But targets are a little bit more complex, and I think I actually will end up covering this in this video just to help you initially set up. But there's a lot more that goes into it that you can use for really advanced things. So what you're going to want to do is we're going to just want to skip all this and head down straight to click here to download Push2Run. It's going to be a save as function, so you get to choose where you want it. I prefer desktop for anything I'm working on with immediately. You want to save Push2Run setup, and then we're going to hop over to Push2Run setup. I'll double click it, get this, say yes. You want to accept the agreement. You do want to associate the .p2r file extension, because if you ever want to, skip a couple steps, it really helps. You can find some pre-made examples online. You can also export these examples for other people to pick up and use. And you want to create a desktop shortcut. Next, you want to just install it. You want to launch Push2Run. I really hope this didn't delete everything, but nope, didn't look like it did. But that's the setting. That's the setup. And after that, actually, what it's going to initially open is it's gonna basically open the options tab, or something that looks very similar to it. It's gonna ask you if you want to enable PushBullet or pushover. Pushover is exactly like PushBullet. It's just another pushing service. And a pushing service is just something that moves something from one place to another. In this case, we want to enable PushBullet. PushBullet isn't entirely free, neither is pushover, but pushover is more expensive. PushBullet is free up to 500 pushes a month, which is going to do a standard user good. A power user or developer, not so much. But what we want to get in this video, just to start everything off, is we need a PushBullet API. Now, if you don't have that yet, it's really easy to get, but most importantly, we also want to change this title filter to something easy and memorable. Because as you can see, it doesn't let you highlight it to copy it. Make it easy so you don't trouble yourself in the long run. And that's a comedy special. And this is the video. Okay, so first we want to set up PushBullet. I logged out, and I have both of these are linked for me. This is my active one, so I'm going to show you my inactive one that doesn't link to anything. But we're going to sign up with Facebook. You'll be asked to, approve it with Facebook, and once you're through, you'll hit the setup page. This is gonna tell you to set everything up. Do what you want here. It's not really necessary. What we want is actually in the settings, and it's under account, so it's actually the first thing that pops up anyway. You're gonna want to click create access token. Now this doesn't go anywhere, this is the bunk one, but you want to slide it and copy it. And don't freak out because I said it was a bunk one. It's only a bunk one because this is not what is linked to my Google Home. I actually have my Google account, not my Facebook account, linked to my Google Home. I know it just kind of made more sense to me at the moment. But you're just gonna want to just Control V, because oh yeah, you could just right click and paste it in. Once you have that done, that part is done. We don't need to worry about that because it doesn't matter how well these are set up until you get the integration finished off. So we want to head back to PushBullet, or at least to the web browser. We don't need PushBullet anymore. We can go ahead, close out of that, and close out of Push2Run. See, now what we have is the IFTTT platform. The first thing we're going to want to do is just go to IFTTT.com. Once we get there, this is the splash page for somebody who has already created an account. But it's not that hard. You're just going to want to... Let's just do this all the way through, just for it. Oh, I already had an account for that. Well, I guess I've already expended my 2 emails, so I'm just logging back into Google. But basically, before you get to this, it's going to ask you to log into a bunch of different services. And after that, it's going to ask you what optional services you will also want to attach to your account. The most important, and realistically the only important one, is Google Assistant, because how are you going to integrate to Google Home, which is Google Assistant, if you don't have Google Assistant on here? So it's fairly easy to get, you know, all made up. And actually, it's really interesting. Down here, these are all pre-made examples. All you have to do is click on it, customize it, and make it work. They're all for a whole bunch of different things. Some of them are for smart lights, some of them are for smart TVs, some of them are for smart locking doors and cameras. Like, you could just go into whole house lockdown mode if you had enough smart devices, but we're just talking about your computer. Arguably the most central part of most people's lives. So what we're going to want to do is, let's start with the easy way. Once we have Google Assistant set up, we don't need to worry about PushBullet integration yet. Unless you already did that, then good on you. You're a real go-getter, and I appreciate you for that. But we're going to start with heading to the link in the description, and that is a link to my applet. Once you get there, you're going to be greeted with this. It'll tell you, it's the Tell My Computer To. And what the Connect does is, if you hadn't already, it would make you log into both PushBullet and Google Assistant. So realistically, you don't need to set them up beforehand because this will force you to do it anyway. But it's going to bring you to this page. This is my applet right here. And this right here, the only customizable field on the applet is the title. And don't be tricked by that name. It's not truly a title. See, what it actually is it is the place that you put the name of your computer. The thing I told you to do earlier. So you just want to make it recognizable because, once again, it has issues with copying. Mine's Push2Run main PC. You want to head back over to your applet. You want to enter that in the tagline. It's going to be default just because that's how I had it set up. It's completely rewritable. You could delete the whole thing and just be like, you could do Push2Run Bob's PC, but mine is not Bob's PC. It is my main PC. You save that. Changes are saved. Perfect. Now let's go and get into setting up some new rules. Now, it can be a little different depending on what kind of programs you want to create. But for example, let's just say we want to have it load up and launch Battlefield 1. The easiest way to do that is actually to just go into the properties, and here's how we want to set it up. We're going to create it. We're going to add an action. So this is our listen for. This is the most important part. This is just decorative. So I say BF1 because I want it to load Battlefield 1. Now we're going to have it listen for. Now the applet works like this. It is, okay Google, tell my computer to. Or, okay Google, ask my computer to. Or, okay Google, ask my PC to. And by the way, yeah, my Google Home did activate, so it is going to say something. I'm gonna let it get it out. It's really confused because of how much I actually spoke. Hey, it gave up actually. So we're moving on because my Google Home gave up trying. Anyway, so in this case we want to launch BF1, launch Battlefield 1, or I don't know, you could do weird ones. Like I like doing joke ones sometimes. So you want to go you know, launch World War 1 Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. I know it's nonsense, but you can do whatever you want. Now, it gets a little interesting right here. So in this target that we are actually copying from the shortcut for Battlefield 1, we want to just take where the file is, not the file itself. And we actually want that in start directory, not open, because open's where we're gonna put. We look at the end, the name of the executable is bf1.exe. And in this case, we won't need parameters because I don't think there are parameters. If you use parameters online, I think you can actually get banned by DICE because DICE is wacky like that. But, you know, it's EA. So now that we have that, it'll start disabled. We enable it. So funny story is I'm actually doing this bit after the bit you just last saw because magic of editing, and I also messed up on making the original applet. So I'm gonna show you part 2. If you don't want to use my applet, here's how you use if this then that. So first thing you want to do is start with the trigger. The trigger in this case means the device that gets that the command gets installed to, basically. So in this case we want to find, well, Google Assistant, and we want to set up a phrase with a text ingredient. This is the most important part. So we want to set up a few examples, and a text ingredient is basically whatever we add after that point is the text ingredient. So when I say I'm just going to use Alexa because I don't want Google to activate. Hey Alexa, tell my computer to, and then let's show a visible example. I tell Alexa to tell my computer to play Battlefield 1 or open Netflix or whatever you want. It is all represented by that single $sign, and that's the most important $sign in this whole thing. It's what makes it work. So we want to set up a few. We could say, tell my computer to, ask my computer to, $sign, or tell my PC to, $sign. After that, you want to customize the response. In this case, we just want it to be simple. Okay, I told your computer English. I needed a dictionary. Okay, I told your computer to do the thing. That's what it means. And after that, English or whatever your native speaking language is. So if you don't have English as your native language, you will need to customize your own applet because this is, unfortunately, their apps aren't cross-lingual. Don't know why. It sucks. But once we have that all set up, the most important part is, of course, our PushBullet. Gonna bring you to this page. We want to push a note. A note is basically what sends the text down here, which you didn't see how badly it was failing earlier, but yeah, it's what lets you customize that. So we actually want this to be customizable by the user, and here's why. this is your Push2Run computer name. In this case, it's Push2Run main PC. And since I'm releasing this applet publicly, I have it set so you can change this to your, will. And don't want to touch that. I tried touching that and I broke everything. That's actually legitimately why I'm having issues. So, if you want to come up with a funny name, you could, but I'm just going to go, tell my computer to. Simple. And straight to the point. Tells you exactly what it does. Tells your computer to do things. Then, sets up. Oh, I guess I should go, PushBullet version. I'm not gonna do a pushover version because it costs money to use pushover. So that's up to you. Do what you want. Now, description, whatever you want. And most importantly, you want to hit save. Applet will be created. It'll bring you to this page. And then most importantly, you want to go over to enable it on IFTTT. It brings you to this very familiar page that we were talking about just earlier. If you don't have it connected, it's going to connect it. I have it all connected, so it'll ask me to connect it. And this is already correct, so I press save. And the best part about this is during the connection process, it actually sends it directly to Google Assistant, so it can be used immediately. So if I were to say, for example, okay Google, tell my computer to open Netflix.
Okay, I told your computer to open Netflix.
No, it's still doing that thing. Okay. Alright, so I also, once again, magic of editing. I know I do that a lot, but I also learned that if you accidentally set up an applet incorrectly the first time, make sure to go out of your way to ensure it's disabled so you don't make your ass, so you don't make an ass of yourself on a YouTube video, for example. So anyway, now that that's properly working, let's just go ahead and close the browser completely. Close that completely and minimize that because nobody wants to see that awful inception. And we're just gonna go straight for it. Okay Google, tell my computer to open Netflix.
Okay, I told your computer to open Netflix.
Bam! Netflix opened. Okay Google, I delayed. Okay Google, tell my computer to open VRV.
Okay, I told your computer to open VRV.
Oh. Yeah. See, I'm used to programming things for AI that are dumb. I didn't realize that it wouldn't space it out because every other voice dictation thing spaces out VRV. Okay, Google, tell my computer to open VRV.
Okay, I told your computer to open VRV.
There we go. Okay, this one's gonna be dumb. I can't not laugh. Okay, Google, tell my computer to launch World War I Part 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Okay, I told your computer to launch World War I Part 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It's Battlefield 1, by the way. So after a quick delay, because EA games take forever to open up, we will eventually see either Origin asking me to log in, or Battlefield 1 actually launching. We can actually confirm this fact if we go to the task manager. All we really have to do is look at what's running in the background at this exact second. So after issuing that command, did it even try? I remember I had some issues with this recently. I think I actually need to reinstall my Origin completely. But in this case, this command did not work because I was not logged into Origin. But as you saw, we opened Netflix and VRV perfectly fine. So moral of the story is, if you want your computer to do something smart, make sure you've already done the stupid things that the computer can't do to ensure it can look smart when it attempts to do the one task it was actually designed to do. And as you can see, Origin is still not loading, still not opening. That suggests that I need to reinstall the program or end the background task and try again. Either way. But that is the basic on how to set everything up to run in PushBullet / Push2Run. And that way you can send things from your home to your computer, and it works. It just works, really, like that. And I guess I should just simply state, if you do the thing and you do it right and you don't fuck it up, it just works. So, once again, Happy New Year's to all of you, and I hope this video was informative.